Dear students, welcome back. In the previous class, we have discussed about how to write program in QBasic. In today's class, I will just revise or recap the previous class and then we'll further go in depth of how to write a program in QBasic. As you all know, QBasic is one of the simplest programming languages. The user gives step-by-step instructions to the computer and computer follows the instructions exactly. Programs in QBasic can be used to prepare lists, solve mathematical problems, create drawings and make simple computer games. So QBasic is a computer programming language. So what is a language? Let us see. So language is a means of communication between two or more people. There are different types of communication. We can say verbal, non-verbal, visual and written. Any written language like Hindi and English etc. which we use to communicate all are made up of symbols. Each symbol has a specific meaning and pronunciation. Computer language. So computer language is a language by which we can communicate with computer. That means we need a particular language so that we can communicate with computer. As computer doesn't understand the language that is our natural language like English, Hindi, etc. Some common computer languages are QBasic, Fortran, Logo, C++, HTML, etc. Here we are going to learn how to write program with the help of QBasic or how to communicate with computer with the help of QBasic. As our, that is the human being languages have symbols, similarly computer languages have also symbols. All written languages of the world, even the computer language, have the following set of symbols. These symbols are used in a specific way and have specific pronunciation. The symbols can be categorized as letters, numbers, and special characters. Similarly, the computer language QBasic also has the following symbols or character sets that can be used while writing a program in QBasic. That is letters, both capital A to Z and small a to Z, numbers 0 to 9 and special characters. If you take any language of the world like say English, then you will find these three set of specific symbols, that is letters A to Z, numbers 0 to 9, special characters like comma, apostrophe, full stop, etc. Beside the symbols, all languages have data types to create a specific type of information or expression. So data type constrains the values that an expression such as variable or a function might take. This data type defines the operations that can be done on the data, the meaning of the data, and the way values of that type can be stored. A data type provides a set of values from which an expression may take its values. So data types are also very important for any particular given language, whether it is a natural language that is we use or a computer language. What is an expression? In computer or mathematics, an expression is a finite combination of symbols that is well formed according to rules that depend on the context. Symbols can designate numbers, we see it as a constants, variables, operators, that is arithmetical operators, relational operators, and logical operators. Here in terms of computers I am discussing, and you know about arithmetical, relational, and logical operators that we have discussed earlier. Even you know about the numbers, that is the constants and variables. In QBasic, we have discussed earlier that there are four different types of data that we can use, or the data types. They are constants, numeric constants, and alphanumeric constants. Variables are again of two types, that is numeric variable and alphanumeric variable. So in total there are four different type of data types that are permissible in QBasic. Then functions, it is a little bit higher concept which we will not discuss. Then brackets, pronunciation, and grouping to help determine order of operation, that is BODMAS, that we have seen in the previous class. All of you know B stands for bracket, O for order. Order means the power. D for division, M for multiplication, A for addition, and S for subtraction. And other aspects of logical syntax. So here logical syntax means the way you are writing an expression is very important, whether the expression they are writing is logically correct or not. That is also important. Of course, the syntax is important. So the examples you can see here: 2 plus 3, 2 into L plus B, etc. Here in this first example, we are using the mathematical operators. In the second, like A greater than B, A greater than B, and A greater than C. Here you are using the logical operator and relational operator. Here greater than is a relational operator and is a logical operator. If you want to know in depth, you can either go through your book or you can go through the previous videos. So as discussed earlier, there are four data types in QBasic. First is numeric constant, numeric variables, second one. Numeric constant store the numeric values as a constant. Numeric variables, here we are using the variables like ABC, BA2, NUM as examples shown here, which can store the numeric constants. Next one is alphanumeric or string constant. These are always closed in double quotes. Remember this. This is the difference between a numeric constant and alphanumeric constants. If I write 2020, okay, within double quotes, then it becomes a string constant. It will not be a numeric constant. So whenever you are using alphanumeric or string constant, you should put within double quotes. Next is alphanumeric or string variable. These are used to store alphanumeric or string constants. These are always followed by the dollar sign. So that is again a difference between alphanumeric or string variables and the numeric variables. Alphanumeric or string variables always ends with or followed by a dollar sign, whereas the numeric variable doesn't end or are followed by the dollar sign. So whenever you are seeing a dollar sign at the end of a variable name, you should think of an alphanumeric variables, and an alphanumeric variable will always store a string constant. So you have to put within double quotes. So dear student, I'm sure you know what is a constant and What are variables? A constant means the value which you can't change during the execution of the program or when the program is running, whereas a variable is, in computer terms, is a name of a memory location where the value stored in it can be changed during the execution of the program. In any language, the collection of specific symbols, usually the letters or characters, are used to form words. A word have a meaning. In computer programming language, we say these words as keywords. These keywords have a specific meaning for that particular programming language. Or the keywords are also sometimes known as the commands. There are also some rules to use the words for framing a sentence. In computer terms, we say it as a statements or instructions, along with other symbols. So let us see grammar or syntax rules. For example, in general English language, say Ram is playing football. This is grammatically or syntactically correct. If I write Ram, am playing football, this is grammatically or syntactically wrong. Next rule is meaning or the semantic rules. For example, Ram is playing football. This is semantically correct because it is conveying the correct meaning. Whereas if I write football is playing Ram, this is semantically wrong but grammatically correct. Why? Because it is not conveying the correct meaning, which is of course not possible. So QBasic commands are the keywords that we have learned till now. CLS, it means clear the screen. It is generally used as the first line as we discussed earlier so that we can clear the screen and we can start our program fresh on that screen. Let is of course a optional command and it is basically used to assign constants to variables. Next is input. It is used to obtain values for the variables from the user during the running or the execution of the program. So this is a very important command as this command is used to make our program more interactive. We have discussed previously the different ways by which we can use the input command. Please refer to your book or you can go back and see the previous videos. Next is print command. Print command is used to display the result on the screen. This print command can also be used in different ways that we have discussed in the previous class. For more detail, you can either refer back to your book or you can watch the previous videos. Next is the if command. This if command is basically used whenever we want to take some decision. We will discuss this if command later on in detail. So dear students, all of you know that we are using computer nowadays in almost all part of our activities. A computer will have a software or the program to perform a particular task. These programs or the softwares are basically solving a particular problem which we had earlier faced so that we can solve that particular problem fast and in an accurate way. That means we are using computer to solve our problem. So let us very first see how to solve a problem. Any problem in this world can be solved in the following way. First, you have to understand the problem, then define the variables. That is, what you need to solve that problem, the input variables and the output variables. And if you are finding the problem is a very big or complex one, we can break the problem down into smaller parts. This is known as decomposition, that is, divide and win rule. And after breaking the problem, we have to think the steps needed to solve each part, that is, the processing logic, by using the input that is needed to solve the problem based on the output that we have to generate. The processing logic is going to be used. You can think of any problem that you want. We basically solve any problem based on these steps. So how to write a program for a given problem? The most important is that if you can solve a problem in paper and pen, then you can write a program. I am repeating it again. If you can solve a problem in paper with pen, then you can write a program by going through the steps that you have done or written in paper to solve the problem. So dear students, whenever a problem is given to you for writing a program, first you try to solve it in your copy. If you can solve it successfully, you follow the steps that you have done in your copy to write the program. It is so simple. Remember, if you can't solve the problem in paper, then you can't write a program. Of course, for solving a problem, you should follow the steps that we have discussed earlier. So, to write program for solving a problem, we follow the following steps. First, produce an ordered sequence of steps that describe solution of problem. This sequence of steps is called an algorithm. You can write an algorithm very easily if you can solve the particular in your paper first, and based on how you have solved, you can write the ordered sequence of steps. The algorithm must have input statements, steps for processing, and output statements. Last, translate the algorithm into program based on a programming language. Dear students, these three steps are very important. Try to understand it. I am repeating again. First, produce an ordered sequence of steps that describe solution of problem. This ordered sequence of steps you will get if you can solve the problem in paper. Once you are becoming expert, then of course you can think in your brain and you can write down the steps directly. This sequence of steps we call as an algorithm. Of course, while doing it, it is not necessary that you have to write exactly the way an algorithm is written. But of course, if you are becoming a professional, then in that case you have to write it in a proper way so that the other of your colleague can understand that what and how he have to solve the problem. Next, while writing the steps, while we solve, we take, for example, in maths, given. Similarly, given means that is given in the question, that is the input that you are taking. Yes, similarly in an algorithm also there should be an input statement. Once you had said given, then you write that we know, say area of rectangle is L into B. So that you know, that is the processing step. And then you find the output and you have to display. So in algorithm, there must be input statement, steps for processing, and output statement. Now the same is for the program. So you have to translate the algorithm into program based on a programming language. Here we are using the QBasic. Someone may use C, someone may use C++ or Visual Basic. Okay, so the same algorithm can be translated into different programming language. The program will be based on the programming language, but the algorithm will be same. So see the importance or the significance of an algorithm. So a program will have the three basic units: input statement, processing statements or expressions, and output statement. I hope you have understood this. If not, you can pause the video and again go through it. So let us define now a computer program. A computer program is a sequence. Instead of sequence, if I say set, that will more appropriate. Okay, so a computer program is a set of instructions written using a computer programming language to perform a specified task by the computer. Here, the task is usually a solution of a problem. So dear students, I said here instead of sequence, the set is more appropriate. Why? A sequence means you have to follow in the sequence like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. Okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6. But in program, sometime we have to jump a particular instructions, a series of instructions, or sometime we have to repeat the instructions. Okay, so once I am saying jumping, that means it is a conditional statements or condition. If a condition is there, in that case we have to jump the instruction. We are not going to follow a sequential following of the instruction. Similarly, in loop, we have to repeat the particular statements again. So in this particular class, we are going to see the conditional statements or the conditional command, that is the if. The loop we will discuss in the higher class. Okay class, let us discuss in detail how to write a program to find area of a rectangle by accepting length and breadth from the user. Here I am writing the steps that we usually follow. First, step 1, we have to define input. Here it is the length and breadth. Next, we have to define the output, because it is the output that will show us or that will lead us that what processing step we should follow. Instead of area, if I say perimeter, my thinking or my processing steps will be different. So we have to define the output first. Then we have to define the variables. Now variable will be based on a definition of input and output. Here we can take L for length, B for breadth, and area. I am simply writing area only as a variable name. Now it is a choice of the programmer to choose the variable names. The name should be relevant and should be framed according to the rules of programming language. So to name the variable in QBasic, the rules we have discussed earlier. So the next step, outline the processing steps. So here it is very simple. We know the formula to find the area of a rectangle is length into breadth. So here processing step is area is equal to L into B. And then last, we have to display the output or result. So dear students, always remember, whenever a particular problem is given to you for writing a program, you have to first define the input. Next, you have to find out what is the output that you have to show, because based on the output, your processing logic will depend, or you are going to outline the processing steps. So once you have outlined the processing steps, the last, you have to display the output or the result as required by the problem given. I'm sure you have understood this. Okay, we are going to see again further in detail how we are going to do the same particular problem, and how we are now going to write an algorithm for this. So dear students, here I've shown you an algorithm for writing the or solving the particular given problem, that is to find the area of a rectangle that we have discussed earlier. So step 1, start. Step 2, input length say L, input breadth say B. So here the input variables are L and B, and these two, step 2 and step 3, are the input statements. The next step 4 is area is equal to L into B. Here this step 4 is nothing but a processing statement, or it is displaying a processing logic. The step 5, that is the print area. So here this is the output statement, and we are using the output variable as area. Step 6, stop. That means we have finished the algorithm. So remember, an algorithm can take the form of multiple steps and even branch depending on the processing logic. Here you can see, here is a very simple one. Okay, of course here the processing step is simple, step 4, but sometime it may require more processing steps depending on the type of the problem, and even depending on the type of the problem, there may be branching out of the processing steps, as we have discussed earlier in case of if, and also in case of looping statements. Dear students, you have seen how we are going to write an algorithm. Now it is of course not compulsory or necessary for you to write an algorithm first and then write the program, or you translate the algorithm into program. But in the beginning, you can start by writing an algorithm and translate the algorithm into program. But it is necessary or very important that you solve the given problem in your copy or in the paper first, and then see how we are solving it. Based on that understanding of solving the particular problem, you can directly write the program based on what are the inputs, what processing steps you have taken, and how you are displaying the output. So, but very first, you should know the input. You should know what output will be generated. Based on the output, there will be a processing logic. So now let us see how we can translate the algorithm that we have written into program, that is in QBasic language. So step 1, start. Here we can say CLS, or we are clearing the screen so that whatever was there on the screen can be erased and the screen can be cleaned for our particular program. So in step 2, we have written input length say L. So here I am writing the corresponding statement in QBasic. Input is the command or the keyword. So how it can be written? I am writing the comment first or the message first, that is enter length, comma L. Now this is the proper way of interacting with the user, because if you write simply L comma B, input L comma B, that is also correct, but the user will not able to know that what he have to enter. So it is good to ask the user to input the different values separately. Then next, step 3, input breadth, say B. So input, enter breadth, comma B. So these two are the input statements. Now we know the processing one because we have found what the output should be, that is the area. So we know step 4, that is we know that area is equal to L into B. This is the processing. We can simply write the processing as it is. Now while writing this, you should remember that whatsoever variable that you are taking in input, the same variable you have to use in processing. Remember this. Don't change. Now here I have written L because here input variable is L. Don't write in processing as length. Is it clear? Now here the output variable that I am using is area. Area is equal to L into B. In step 5, that is the print area. Now see, the area that I have written there as an output variable, the same variable I have to use in the print statement. So here print area of rectangle. This is the message that I am going to give to the user, that what they are going to see, and area. So this variable that you are going to use, okay, should be same as the variable that I use in the processing step. And then last end, we say that to the computer that the program is going to end. So I hope you have understood that how to translate a particular algorithm into program. Or of course you can directly write the steps that you have written in a copy to solve the problem into the program directly also. It will based on your experience. Remember this. First, in the beginning, you try with algorithm. You have to try all the 3 processes. First, you have to solve it in a copy. See the steps. Based on that steps, you write the algorithm, and based on algorithm, you translate it into the program. So when you get experience, then you can skip the using the algorithm, and further once you get more experience and you become expert, you can directly write the particular program, and whatsoever steps are there you can think in your mind, okay, and you can write the program directly. But in the beginning you have to follow these 3 steps. First, solve it in your copy, then based on that you write an algorithm, then translate the algorithm into program. I hope you have understood this. We will see the requirements for solving a problem. Any problem in the world will require 3 important things. If we know those 3 things, then we can solve the problem. If we don't know, we can't solve the problem. Very first is the input. So when a problem is given to you, we basically will go through the problem and we are going to first find out what is given. Okay, means what are the inputs that we are going to take to solve the problem. So in our case, basically in computer, these inputs will be in the form of variables, so that we can store the values of the particular input into a variable. Nowadays, this input a user can either enter through the keyboard or through the mouse or in some complicate things, it can also take it from sensors. So here we are not going to that extent. In our particular QBasic, there are two types of variables that you know. First is, you can take numeric variables, and second one is alphanumeric variables. So I'm sure you know the difference between numeric and alphanumeric variable. First difference is there in the naming of the variable. For example, if you write a variable, say n, and here I will write, and if it is an alphanumeric, then I will write, say, $n. So this is the difference here. Alphanumeric variable always ends with a dollar sign, and a numeric variable doesn't require dollar sign. Now, how you are going to assign a value to a variable is also different. Here you can write directly the value. In case of alphanumeric, you have to put within double quotes. Now here this 25 is not a number, it is a string because we have put within double quotes, and this 25 is a number. So dear students, while declaring the variable, you have to categorize it whether it is a numeric variable or whether it is an alphanumeric variable in case of QBasic. Once you know the input, then you have to go to the problem and find what is the output, means what is the display in this problem. So second is output. Now here the output can be in the form of a statement. Output can be in the form of a statement, or it can be a variable, or it can be a combination of both. Okay, or it can be a combination of both. Now, the output is very important, because what is the output? Based on that, you are going to have a processing logic, means how you are going to convert this input to the output, because we have to do something during the conversion process of input to output. So I will write here conversion, or the process. There will be a process by which we are going to convert the input variables to output. Sorry, the input to output. So the third requirement is the processing logic. This is very important. Depending on the output, the processing logic will be different. The input may be same. Okay, if the output is different, the processing logic will be different. Remember this. So I can say I will require input. We are going to process it, and we'll get an output. So this is important. These three things you should know to solve any given problem in the world. Basically, you do it unknowingly. In maths, we'll see later on what so you do. We basically first try to find the input, we write it, then we are going to find the output. Based on the output, we'll write the processing logic, or what is the equation or the formula or whatsoever it is. whether you take it maths or say physics or take any problem. So I hope you have understood this. We'll see the different examples. You can take any example from your own side and try to write the input that is needed for that problem, then write the output, then the processing logic. If you know these three, you can easily solve the problem. I hope you understood. Dear students, let us see how we basically write the program for this given question. Before writing the program, let us see how we are going to solve this if it is given in maths. Of course, here I am not given the rate and the quantities value since we have to write the program. We'll discuss this after how we are going to write the program, how we are going to solve it in maths. So, it goes like this. Solution, then you write given rate. Now since the value is not given, I am taking it as a variable r, and quantity say q. The hint is given, so we will write here, we basically write we know price is equal to r into q. Now suppose I have given you the value for r, say this is 10 and this is also 10. These are the values that have been given to you. So what you write? Substituting the value of the value r and q, we get price is equal to 10 into 10 is equal to 100. So you write the answer like this. Answer is equal to 100. So this is the way you do it in maths. Now we will see how we are going to write the program. Now if you see here also, this is basically input. This is the processing logic and this is the output. So unknowingly you are doing the same procedure. You have taken the input, you have written the processing logic based on the output that is required. So this is the output and you have displayed the output here. So as I discussed, any particular problem given to you, you have to know what are its inputs, what is the processing logic by which you are going to convert the input to output. So first you will know the input, after that you should know that what you have to find. Here display the price, this is the output. So based on the output, you are going to find the processing logic. If it is given good, if not, you have to find it yourself. I hope you understood this. So dear students, let us see how to write the program for this question. We have solved it in the way we do in maths. So here I write Instead of given, I will start with CLS. So we'll clear the screen first. Then these are the input. For this, I'll write input enter read then input enter quantity Q, then this is the processing logic, so I will not do anything in that. Now the output is this one, so I write the output. Since here, as you know, what is a variable, this R and Q are the variables. These are the memory locations having a specified name. In this memory location, when the user is going to enter the value will be stored in the memory location known as R and the Q. When you are going to process it, the values will be multiplied and the value will be stored in price. So we'll write here print price is equal to price END. So dear students, here don't get confused with the price written here and the price written here. Price, which is written outside the double quotes, this is a variable name, and the price equal to which is written inside quotes, this is a message or a simply text which is displayed on a monitor. Is it clear? But remember, this is a variable. The same variable should come here. So here again the same, this is the output that we are showing. So input, processing logic, output. I hope you have understood this. Dear students, I am sure that you understood how to write a program for a given question. You will need three important things. First, you should know the input that is required, the output, and based on the output, the processing logic. If you can solve that question with these three particular important things in paper, then you can write the particular program. So if any doubt, please feel free to ask me, or you can WhatsApp me your doubt. I will try my best to clear it. Thanks. Have a nice time. Be healthy. Be safe. Bye bye. See you in the next class.